Okay, so today I've brought you a really quick brow tutorial. This is something a few of you asked for, so I thought it's nice, quick, easy, I'll do that. Obviously, might not be to your taste. You can see my brows are quite heavy. I like to have them really defined. If you're looking for something a little bit more natural, please don't hesitate to ask, because although that's not my personal taste on myself, I am used to doing that on clients as well, so that's something I could do for you. So if you want to see how I create my brows, I'll give you a little quick. There we go. Then please stay tuned. Right, so the first thing I do for my eyebrows is I take just a disposable mascara wand and just brush through, get those to the rough shape that I want, so the hairs are going in the right kind of direction. So for the main part of my brows, to get the base there of the shape, I use one of the MAC twist up eyebrow pencils, and I use it in brunette. Obviously use colour that matches your brows. So the first place I do that is just start under the brows very lightly, because you can build up the colour. I'll do that one as well. Take that about as far as the arch. I then move to the tip of my brow. So my eyebrows lack the tail. This isn't, I haven't shaved them off, anything like that. It's just I have short eyebrows, but I like to have the tail of them. So I just go from the arch and bring them down to add in that tail. I then go underneath that, following the natural line as much as I can, just to fill that. So these aren't perfect. I will use eyeshadow and concealer to carve out my brows, so just bear with me for now. This is where I'd fill the arch as well. So I then go along this top line. I tend to stop just before the eyebrows get thin here, because you want to try and keep that part less thick, otherwise it's quite blocky. So just where you can see the hairs start to grow, that's where you want to do your line. After I've done sort of the outline of my brows, I just take my pencil and shade in the centre slightly. Not completely, as I'll be using eyeshadow after this. Fill in any bits where that line's not too strong. Then just take my pencil very, very lightly this time, and I just push up from that line at the front. So you want the front of the brow to be lighter. So I just push it up from the bottom, where the brow would naturally be thicker. It's almost using small flick-like movements. So you can see where that is, but it's not as heavy as the other side. So the eyeshadow I use is from the Sleek's Au Naturel palette. So it's just these sorts of colours. I use the shade Bark, which is this one just here. It's a very matte brown standard colour. And I use the Zoeva 322 Brownline pencil, which has a nice end. Try and show you the end. That's the end. So you can really use it to get in, do your lines perfectly. So I just take bit of product on that, and I use the same pattern I use as the pencil. Take it along the base first, I tend to start with that line because I like that to be really strong and definite. I then jump to the tail as I did before, and underneath, join that up. Now just using some of the product that's on the top, bringing that down to fill that tail, and obviously add more as I go along if I wish, and then I push up, similar to how we did the pencil in this centre part. Just use the product that's on my brush and already on that base line, just push up through the front of the brow to give it a lighter. And then, like I did with the pencil, the final bit I do is this top line. So following that line that's already there, joining it up with the peak. Now, unlike with the pencil, with my brush, with the small amount of product that's left on it, I just carry that forward a little bit to here, so it's still not blocky, and with my concealer I can brush out a little bit of that, but it just helps blend it all rather than the lines stopping and no product. Just gonna go in on the other one quickly. The next thing I do is just take a little bit of product and just almost brush backwards through the brow. This helps it be a definite out any gaps. I like my brows to be very strong, but I have quite sparse hairs. So my next step is I carve out my brows, and for this I use my concealer, Maybelline Dream Lumi Touch. So it's just one of these twist up concealers, and to carve out my brows I use the Zoeva 226 smudger brush that has a end like that, so I find that's quite good to really get under the arch. It's just a nice flat brush where you can really get definite lines where you want to. So I start in the arch here, and I just push the product forward and along the tail, following that line you've made. So following it just below, just to really define, and then the same along the tail. And then of course blend that out. So I just drag that down onto my lid slightly, where it will meet your primer or your eyeshadow. So with the small excess that's at the front here, you can see my line's going out a little bit further. I just change the angle of my brush, and then I just push up where I wish the end of my brow to be, and again just blend all of that out. To use too much product at a time, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult to work with. You might get too much, then blending it out's harder, or if you get a little bit, if your hand slips or anything, get a little bit in the brow, it's that a little bit harder to deal with. If that does happen, don't panic. You can just go in with your eyeshadow brush again and just go over it, and it will become the same colour again. You haven't got to worry about starting over or anything. So when I go above, I start at the peak, and then just like you have at the bottom, just follow the line again, and then as you go down, just do the same. Now this is the point where if you've made any mistakes, or maybe the tail's a bit thick, or you don't like you wanted it to be more straight rather than down, this is the point where you can use your concealer to reshape that slightly. Not completely, but you can fix that slightly. So like on the bottom here, I don't really like this. I'd like it to go a tiny bit straighter, so I can just go over my line slightly and fix that. So I'd say when doing your brows, if you choose to carve them out, that's probably the part that takes the longest. Just because that's when you're looking really close at the shape you've made and anything like that. Now, so this brow is now carved out. I've got the shape I want. So this front bit here, I just want to take my brush and flitter in and out of that, and then blend out any shadow you've moved. That just helps to take some of the product out to help that lighter. So you want a bit of a transition, so just make sure it doesn't just stop. There we go. So that is my brows drawn in and carved out. My final step is I use Maybelline's Brow Drama Sculpting Brow Mascara in transparent. They just brush this through. I start at the centre, I brush up, and as I go round I start to drag the hairs still in almost like a diagonal upward movement, and then on the tail I brush them along. I also find this helps merge on my brows where my brows stop probably around here. It just helps bring into that tail that's drawn on. So this is my brow tutorial. I'll do a little up close. Excuse any strays that are around. So that's how I do my brows. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm in no way saying this is the correct way to do it. You might look at these and hate them, so I'm sorry if you do. Like and subscribe, and yes, thank you for watching.